Fantastic. I'm going to read to you from the book of Matthew. This is the first time I've had props here. And one prop looks a lot better than the other one, doesn't it? This one looks dead. But first time using props here tonight, so that could go either way. Matthew chapter 4, and starting in verse 1, I'm going to read from verse 1 through to verse 11. It's a lot of verses, that, isn't it? Nope, all right. Tough crowd. It's a lot of verses for me. I don't know. I don't read too well, so. All right, starting in verse 1. It says this: Then Jesus was led, which is important to note, by the Spirit into the desert to be tempted by the devil, and after fasting for 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. Yeah, I bet he was. It says the tempter came to him and said, I can't even last 40 minutes, like between meals. 40 minutes is a stretch, but 40 days, 40 nights, that's a long time. It says the tempter came to him and said, if you're the Son of God, tell these stones to become bread. And Jesus answered and said, it's written that man does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God. Then the devil took him to the holy city and had him stand on the highest point of the temple. He said to him, if you're the Son of God, well then throw yourself down, for it's written, he will command his angels concerning you, and they will lift you up in their hands, so that you will not strike your foot against a stone. And Jesus answered the devil again, which is important to note, that he answered the devil. Didn't just let the devil talk and go about his business, but answered the devil, made a point to turn back and let the devil know, not today. Jesus answered him, it's also written, do not put the Lord your God to the test. And again, the devil took him, we don't use the word devil much anymore, do we? It's usually the enemy. The enemy's after you. When I grew up in church, it was Satan. Or if we're really battling, it was Lucifer. Words we don't use anymore in Christianity. It says again, the devil took him to a very high place, to a high mountain, and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their splendor. All this I'll give to you, he said, if you'll bow down and worship me. And Jesus said to him, away from me, Satan, for it's written, worship the Lord your God and serve him only. And then the devil left him, and angels came and attended him. Just jumping back really quick to verse 2, I want to refresh our memory with these words. It says, after fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. He was hungry. I want to speak a message in this short time that I've got with you called Stay Hungry. Stay hungry. If you've got a notebook, I'd love you to write that down, because it's going to be something I want you to remember. But just write down or make a note somewhere, stay hungry. And then we're going to pray before we jump into this and believe that God moves, that God does something, and that you leave this place better than you came here. Amen? God, we thank you for your word, for every ounce of benefit that it has in our life. God, we thank you that it is living, breathing, and that it's active. And we come to it tonight with our eyes open, heart open, mind actively listening to what it is you want to say to us. God, we came here tonight not just to be entertained, but to engage with you. Not just to hear something, but to have an encounter with you. God, we came here today to be changed, to be transformed in your presence, God, for a reason and for a purpose. So we thank you for these moments that we have together, God, where we know that you can do anything. Before we move on, we know that you can do anything. And we're bringing stuff to you tonight, God. We're bringing hurts, we're bringing thoughts, we're bringing challenges, we're bringing circumstances and situations. When we came through those doors, Jesus, we didn't just come on our own, but we came with stuff, came with other people's needs, came with other people's ideas, other people's baggage, and we're bringing it all before you, believing that you can make a difference. So we bring it to your grace in Jesus' name. And everyone said, amen, amen. Well, I've been married now for 7 years. Thank you. That is the longest I've done anything. 7 years. and loving life. Got a little baby, 7 months old, and all's good in the Lancaster household. When we got married, we did marriage prep actually with Matt and Claire. It was great. It was actually great. That wasn't sarcasm. Everyone's like, was it great? Was it actually? It was great. We're married 7 years on. Of course it was great. But when we got married, it was a complete lifestyle shift. Anyone that's married in here? Nope. Okay. A couple of you hesitant to put your hand up and admit it. There was a lifestyle shift. Things just changed. Not overnight, but gradually, you realize I'm married now. Things are different. And when we got married, there was I grew up an only child. Some would call a lonely child. And growing up, if I wanted to do something, I just did it because I was an only child and I didn't have siblings, brothers, sisters, anything like that to ask permission of. It's just like if I wanted to watch TV, I'd watch TV. There's certain things that when you're single and before you're married, you can just do. You don't have someone else to think about necessarily. And then when you get married, you get married, don't you? And things change. And I remember when we got married, a couple of things changed, and stuff that I didn't really expect, and it was kind of interesting to me, because when I was single, did life on my own, or I lived with the boys, that kind of vibe. When I wanted to go to bed, I just went to bed. It was like, okay, I'm tired now, so end of the day, I'm going to bed. Since getting married, there's this conversation. I don't know if you have this conversation. There's a conversation that happens, which I didn't know existed, and it starts with, what time are you thinking of going to bed tonight? And I'm often like, I don't know. I've not planned my bedtime. I usually just go to bed when I'm tired. I'll be watching TV, I'm tired, I'm going to go to bed now. And then I'll just go to bed. But when I got married, I don't know if maybe it's just my wife, I don't know. She's awesome, by the way. But she would ask me, what time are you thinking of going to bed tonight? And I don't know, I'll check the diary. I haven't really thought about what time I'm going to bed. It was just a lifestyle change. One of the other things that happened when we got married, which was a lifestyle change, was because when I grew up, and I grew up with just my mum, and when I wanted to eat, I'd just eat. I'd just get food because I was hungry. For me, it was like, if I'm hungry, I'm going to eat. You just do it. When you're hungry, you eat. That's just what you do, isn't it? That makes sense. Not when you're married. When you don't eat when you're hungry when you're married. You wait for dinner. You wait for dinner because your wife's planned dinner. And we had a dinner table, and my wife would plan dinner. And one of the surprises I found when I first got married is that I would finish work, and because I was hungry, I'd just go to McDonald's on the way home. Because I was hungry. And because I grew up with the idea that when you're hungry, you just eat, because that solves the issue. It didn't really work. So, thus, my first prop. Let's see if this works. Seamless. So this is presented well as well. So I would go to McDonald's on the way home. Not anymore, obviously, as you can tell. But I would go to McDonald's on the way home, and I'd be like, I'm hungry, it's a train ride, but I'll at least get a McDonald's on the way home. And then I would get to the dinner table, and my wife would be like, we've made food, and it's good food. And I'd be like, oh, shoot. But I wouldn't say anything, because obviously I didn't want to tell her I've just had a McDonald's. So I'd be eating the food. Second prop. What? Chicken salad, people. So she'd prepare a good meal. That looks strong. She'd prepare a good meal, but yet I would have had a McDonald's on the way home. So I'd be sat at the table, oh, this looks great, babe. Oh, you've put so much work into this. This is awesome. And I'd eat it. I'd eat the whole thing anyway because I'm a man. But I'd eat it and struggle, because I was full from the McDonald's, because I'd already eaten this on the way home. And I learned something interesting in that crazy season of my life called first year of marriage. I learned that if your wife prepares a meal for you, then the best way for you to enjoy that meal is to stay hungry. It's to stay hungry. And matter of fact, the best way for you to enjoy anything that's been prepared for you is for you to stay hungry. And a lot of us live our life on the train home snacking on stuff like this. We distract ourselves with small and insignificant things with no nutrition that do no good to us. And by the time we get to the table of the things that God has prepared for us, well, we sit at the table and we're like, this looks great. You come into church and you're like, yeah, worship was good. But you're already full because you had a McDonald's on the way. Not an actual McDonald's, it's a metaphor. But you had something already, like your weekend was busy with whatever it was you were doing at the weekend, and you got satisfied with that because it was a bit of fun, and then you get in the presence of God and you're blasé about it because you're already snacked on the way to the thing that God had prepared for you. I love in the Bible it says, no eye has seen, no ear has heard the things, no mind can actually conceive the things that God has prepared for you. So let's lay a foundation and a fact. God has got a table and he's prepared something for you. The question is, are you staying hungry or are you consumed with insignificant things on your journey before you even get to the table? Like, what does this look like? What's keeping you busy? What is it that's distracting you that much that when you are listening to the word of God, you're like, I've heard a message like this before. I've heard that scripture before. Or we're in worship and you're like, I'm done with this song. This song's so boring. We've been playing this song we've been trying to play this song for like 2 years. Like, what happens in that space between encountering God and yet you get so blasé in the presence of God that this no longer becomes significant to us or important or valuable or nutritious because of this? I know what maybe this is a guy's phone number in your phone book. And you spent Saturday night texting back and forth till 3 a.m. And then you got in church on Sunday morning, you're like, church is a bit dead, isn't it? No, church isn't dead. You're full. Church, nothing wrong with church. Church for 2,000 years has been strong. Okay, so let's settle that. Okay, church is God's presence is God's presence. That's set, that's prepared. The question is, what are you eating? What are you busy with? What's keeping you so consumed that when you get to church, when you get in the presence of God, maybe you open your Bible and you sit down on you get one rare Friday afternoon with an hour and you're like, okay, I'm going to talk to God. You get on your knees, you open the Bible and you're like, maybe I'll start in the Psalms. Proverbs, they're short. And you just nothing happens. I think we've got to ask ourselves, why is that? Because that wasn't always the case. And God hasn't changed. The same yesterday, today, and forever. And it's interesting to me how we can be in a service and someone can get a breakthrough, an encounter, can be like the most significant, like craziest, like heavens open, massive, God's doing something, and someone else is like just on Instagram. And the reason we're on Instagram is because we've become blasé about that God has prepared. So we're looking for something else to stimulate something, to excite us, to be like, oh, maybe something's going on here that's exciting. We see something like, that was awesome. I love that. Oh, that's great. Love that. Meanwhile, God right here, today, now, has something significant prepared. Let me just say this. God has prepared something in this house. Like, this is the dinner table. And yet on Instagram, well, that church looks great. And don't get me wrong, it is. But God's prepared this right now. And you're at this dinner table, and you've got this food in front of you. So there's no point in me thinking, oh, the cheeseburger on the way home, ooh, that was good, that was healthy, that was strong. I'm at the dinner table with my wife. I should be honoring her food. I should be respecting that's right in front of me at the moment. But often we're thinking about this so much, and I don't know what that looks like for you. I love in the Bible, Jesus responds. What's interesting to me is Jesus responds, and the devil attacks him and says, if you're the Son of God, and his response is, man will not live off bread alone. What he doesn't say is the Son of God won't live off bread alone. He says man won't live off bread alone. So there's no point in us going, well, Jesus was extra spiritual. You know, he was 100% God and 100%, but that's why he could fast 40 days. That's why he could resist the Bible. Because Jesus responded as man. Man will not live off bread alone. I don't know what bread is for you. I don't know what it represents, but it represents all those things in our lives that we think we should be surviving on, that we shouldn't be surviving on. For example, maybe it's validation. Maybe it's validation, acceptance, approval. Someone constantly, well, just here's a bit of approval. And you need to answer back, no, I'm staying hungry. I don't live off that. I don't live off that alone. I'm not living off validation. Validation every now and again, sure, I'll take it, but I'm not living off it. It's not what keeps me going. It's not what I survive off. It's not my oxygen. Every now and again, if you want to tell me, well done, Love that. Thank you so much. Obviously, you saw what God saw at some point and were humble about it. But you have to be so secure and content in yourself that you don't live and survive off validation, because you're not living off this. You're living off God's approval, God's acceptance, God's word over your life. What else is significant to me is that when Jesus went into the desert, it was after an incredible moment in his life. It says the Spirit led him into the desert, and it was after the heavens opened, God spoke down over his life and said, "This is my beloved Son in whom I'm well pleased." He accepted him in that moment. So the test in the desert was not about acceptance. He didn't go through a test so that God could accept him. He didn't go to the desert so God could say, 40 days, 40 nights, well done, you did it. That's not what he did. He accepted him and then sent him to the test, which tells me that the test isn't for acceptance, but it's for preparation. The test is not for acceptance, it's for preparation. So when something like a McDonald's creeps up in your life, whether it's some guy, whether it's some girl, whether it's some situation, whether it's your past, whatever it is that you're consuming that is distracting you from the things of God. And listen, let's be serious. There's always stuff that's going to distract us. It just is, no matter what age we are, no matter what stage of life we are, there's always stuff that's going to be like, it's because that's exciting. Like, no one's going to admit that they like McDonald's, but it's the salt, I don't know what it is in this thing, sugar, whatever it is, but the smell, something. I mean, this has been going for a while too. So this always has some kind of a pull and draw. But what God's asking us to do is stay hungry. Stay hungry, because that's temporary, and what God's got is eternal. And instead of going after something that doesn't last, we should be going after the things of God that are going to create a fulfillment in our lives. And fulfillment will always be greater than a small, insignificant validation from someone. And if you've got a deep level of fulfillment, you won't need acceptance from other people, people's opinion. Well, I can do well today because someone's opinion of me was great. I could do well today because, the song went well and we'll finish church. I'm sorry, that's the last time I'll mention the song, I promise you. Like, I could leave this place today and this go terrible. Can I be honest? I'm okay. Is that all right to say? I'm okay. And for you as well, whatever it is in your life, whatever your thing is, if you get up here and do a set piece and it sucks, you leave this place, I'm okay. Because I'm not after something like that to make me aware that I'm actually okay with God. Maybe you live a Monday and your Monday isn't the best Monday ever, but you realize you leave that Monday going into Tuesday going, I'm okay, because God's got me. And that's where I find my contentment, at the table, not in every now and again insignificant things that creep up every now and again and distract me. This, a lot of the time, is physical. Can we be honest? Temptation. It's physical. Whatever it is. It might be the internet. It might be some side thing. Whatever it is physical a lot of the time. But there's a moment when what was physical isn't the distraction anymore. And the distraction is not a physical thing, but it's a psychological thing. And you're not distracted anymore by a physical temptation, but by a psychological one. What interests me in the story of the prodigal son. In the story of the prodigal son, there's also the prodigal's brother. Now, the prodigal's son was distracted by physical things. He wanted his inheritance, he wanted it early. And by the way, anything that you take early that should last, or that should be prepared when you get it, like an inheritance, that could have accumulated over time, could have gained interest, whatever it was. There was a season and a time for that inheritance, and he took it early. And anything you take early that you should take at an appointed time will always leave a bitter taste in your mouth. That's why sex before marriage isn't just about, why not do it? It's good. Of course it's good. It's sex. God made it. God created it. It's good, but it's not the right time. The right time to take something is when it's prepared, when it's planned, and when it's ripe. So his inheritance, it wasn't time for it, and he wanted to take it. This distraction after distraction, a lifestyle that he was drawn to. But yet the brother at home, the whole time this brother's at home, he might not be physically distracted and physically attaining something else, but psychologically he is, because he's at home being jealous. Well, why is my brother out there doing all that stuff, and yet he gets to come home and my dad throws a party for him? So he's around purpose, he's sat at the table, he's around the things of God, he's around everything. He looks hungry, but in his head he's not there. In his head he's absent. In his head he's not around. He might be the first person to show up and the last person to leave. And he looks like he's around the things of God, pursuing the things of God, because he's in the house consistently. But in his head he's like, I wish I was out there where my brother is. And it no longer becomes a physical thing, it becomes a mental thing. And we're not battling externally. We're not in clubs every Friday night doing stuff we shouldn't be, but you're in the house and you're like, oh, I wish it was somewhere else. And that is the most dangerous type of distraction because it's internal. And Jesus said to the Pharisees, he said, you've got issues, there's something wrong with you. You clean the outside of the cup, everything looks great. But on the inside, it's filthy. And it's that that's most important. Because it's not just about a physical distraction. It's not just about being distracted by something that looks good, feels good, tastes good, that is a lifestyle thing, that is a habit, that is something out there that's calling us. It's not just that kind of stuff. It's mental. It's stuff internally. It's your attitude. It's what's going on inside your life. It's your spiritual temperature. So I felt God say to me tonight, extend the challenge that I extended to you, Tom, to just stay hungry. Just stay hungry. Next time something's calling you, say, no, I'm staying hungry today. Next time you know that there's a meal prepared for you, I'm staying hungry today. Just like Jesus did. Turn these stones into bread. No, I'm staying hungry, devil. Well, why not? Just you're the Son of Man, aren't you? So turn these stones into bread. No, I'm staying hungry. Why is he staying hungry? Because he's got a purpose. Why is he staying hungry? Because there's something ahead of him. Why is he staying hungry? Because God's got something great for him. And if he doesn't mentally prepare himself in that test, he'll never be prepared for what's ahead of him. And Jesus had to be prepared, not just physically, but psychologically, because the cross demanded not just a physical turn up, but a psychological turn up. He had to mentally be aware and able to withstand what was going on that cross. That's why he's in the desert before he even gets to the cross. And he's saying, Father, if this is your will, I'll do it. But if not, can I please get out of this? There's a mental battle going on before there's even a physical battle of him on the cross. God needed to prepare him in the desert in both physical and mental terms. And he needs to do the same for you. You might not be running off every Friday night, but there's got to be something in your mind that says, I'm staying hungry. I know God has a purpose for me. I know God has a plan for me. Therefore, I am staying hungry. And the devil, there's an undertone in the desert that the devil is doing. So there's practical stuff. There's stuff on the surface level, like turn these breads into stone into breads. And if you're hungry, eat and jump off this thing and the angels will catch you. And if you worship me, I'll give you this whole kingdom. But there's an undertone to all of that, all of those practical things where the devil's attacking some stuff that is mental. First of all, he's attacking his identity. If you're the Son of God. If you're the Son of God, then do this. But Jesus was so strong in his conviction of who he was that he didn't need somebody else to prove that to him. He was like, I don't need to prove to you who I am by what I do. I know who I am, and I'm the Son of God. So it is what it is. So I'm staying hungry. Second thing he tried to do to him, he tried to attack his ability. His ability. He's like, well, jump off this thing and the angels will catch you. Can you do what you pertain or say you can do? And that for me, if I can be honest with you, is the hardest one. Should you be doing what you're doing? Really? Do you have the ability to do what you're doing? Should you be in the position you are? Well, are you the Son of God? He's attacking his ability to do stuff. Not just his identity, but his ability. And then he challenges him with something which I think for guys is the biggest struggle. Challenges him with authority, position. Position and authority. And he says, well, if you worship me, I'll give you everything. And that seems like an easy out for Jesus. Okay, all I have to do is get down and worship me and you'll give me everything. But I love the strength of Jesus. Mental strength enough to go, I know who I am. I know who I am. I know what I'm called to. So therefore, I'm staying hungry. The Bible says after 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. He was hungry, but not for food, for purpose. And God had called him to a purpose and his purpose was outlived. I wonder if you're aware of your purpose. I wonder if you're aware of what God's called you to. Because if you were aware of it fully, I think there'd be an ability in you to actually stay hungry for it.